always on the go, but the day just won't be one without your Hollywood fix. Let Golden State Media Concepts Entertainment Podcast take care of that. An all-inclusive look of pop culture.
Thank you for tuning in to the GSMC Entertainment Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Jessica, and I'll be sharing some of the top entertainment news that you just need to know right now. But before I do that, guys, I just want to tell you that I had a wonderful weekend, and I don't think I've been able to say that since March. This weekend was so fantastic. I don't even know where to start. My cousin finally got married. She was supposed to get married in a ceremony just outside of Rome over the summer. But as you know, Americans, we're not allowed to go into Rome, and who knows when we will. But she settled on a small wedding on a vineyard in Kutztown, Pennsylvania, which is my alma mater. And so it was so nice to head back up to the area, visit an old professor of mine and a friend. The venue actually is across the street from a house that I used to live in. And it was so, so beautiful. We might not have been in Rome, but just to be at a vineyard, just a small group of us outside. It was windy, but it was totally, totally worth it. She was a dream, beautiful. And I wish them nothing but a life full of happiness. And then on top of that, I got 2 nights away because, I was the matron of honor. So I got to stay in a hotel for 2 nights. It was like this little mini vacation. The service was impeccable. I really felt like I was on vacation. I just loved every single minute of it. It was so, so much fun. So yay, I feel tired, and I have not had that much going on in such a few days. Like I said, I think since March, but it was so good. I would do it all over again if I could. But because I was so busy, there's just so much content that I need to catch up on in terms of television. I am days and days behind. I still need to watch Alona Holmes. I need to see Saturday Night Live. The final season of Schitt's Creek was just released on Netflix early, so I absolutely have to watch that. Plus, as I record this, Dancing with the Stars is on tonight, and then pretty soon The Bachelorette's going to be back on. I mean, I'm going to have my plate full of TV to watch. So I'm very excited about all of that as I'm kind of relaxing, getting back into it. Like I just can't hang with these kids anymore. Oh my goodness. That, or like I said, I haven't really done much since March. So this really took a lot out of me. But anyway, so I'm ready to kind of get back into the swing of things. It's a pretty slow news cycle when every media outlet is peddling stories like She's All That cast, where are they now? The Mean Girls cast, where are they now? Desperate Housewives cast, where are they now? Even this is what the cast of George Lopez looks like today. I mean, it's a slow news cycle. There's not much going on because there's a lot more important things going on in the world right now. So I'm trying my best to put together a very fun show for you today. And I believe that I did. I really do. So you're going to have to stick with me for this one. Topics today include Jessica Alba. We're talking crazy celebrity riders, Millie Bobby Brown. We're talking about celebrities and fast food, as well as some of my favorite movies to get me into the spooky spirit. But first, we have to talk about how COVID has affected the movie theater industry. This is very sad, you guys. Things are changing, and I'm really curious to see how we're going to keep up and how the entertainment industry is going to evolve. So without further ado, I think it is time for us to just dive right on in, waste no time. So as we all know, the pandemic has affected every aspect of life, but now movie theaters are in desperate need of some help. In an article published by Variety, Regal, the second largest U.S. movie theater chain, is closing its theaters 2 months after reopening. It's a decision made in response to the delay of No Time to Die that underscores the immense fallout surrounding the fact that moviegoing just isn't a popular activity during a pandemic. For now, it's unclear if other major operations like AMC theaters or Cinemark will follow suit. Cineworld, Regal's parent company, is also shuttering locations in the UK. Independently owned and operated theaters, many of which are in small towns across the country, have been feeling the pressure for some time now, with many concerned about their chances for survival in a world without exciting new movies to offer. Many have scaled back hours and limited the number of days that they are open. Others, like Regal, opted to close back down entirely, surmising that they will lose less money with the lights off than they would with only a scant amount of patrons. When Chris Johnson, CEO of Classic Cinemas, which is a family-operated movie theater chain with locations in Illinois and Wisconsin, reopened for business after months long of closures, he was in rarefied company. For the first time ever, his theaters ranked among the top 10 earners in the country based on weekend ticket sales. In pre-coronavirus times, that feat would be nearly impossible for a smaller venue. The highest grossing theaters are routinely in New York and California, given higher ticket prices and the fact that they house more populous cities. But with cinemas still being closed on the coasts, Johnson had an unexpected moment of glory. When we opened in June, he recalled, I had the number 7 theater in the country. And I thought that was cool. And that is cool. But yet in the subsequent weeks, attendance wasn't enough to justify keeping the lights on. After just a few weeks back in business, Johnson had to make what he refers to as a heartbreaking decision. He closed down his theaters. He doesn't know realistically when he'll be able to welcome customers again. We found out there was a core audience who came out right away, and that was very exciting, but then it kind of slowed down. Johnson's struggle is one of the many in the exhibition community who continue to face this coronavirus crisis. He followed the recommended safety protocols, instituting professional auditorium cleanings and training staff to adhere to enhanced cleaning procedures, but he notes that those costs are the same whether you're busy or not. And though increased cleaning measures might ensure consumers and customers to feel safer in the theaters, there's nothing that they can do with the fact that without constant new movies, there isn't enough to sustain the business. You can't release one blockbuster and hope for the best. Roughly 30% of theaters remained closed, including most locations in New York and Los Angeles, 2 of the biggest markets for moviegoers in the country. Box office experts predict it's unlikely any release dates for major movies will stick without these cities opened. So, Eric Handler, a media and entertainment analyst at MKM Partners, said the biggest problem is that Middle America can't support a tentpole film on its own. You really need the coasts. Until we can get New York and California back, I don't think we'll see any big major movies coming out. So this issue brings up, it's kind of like a chicken or the egg situation, right? So studios are hesitant to theatrically release films, especially those that they have paid hundreds of millions of dollars to make and to market, if people aren't willing to go see the movies. However, movie theaters can't sustain business without new products to offer to customers. This situation is really critical, but exhibitors are warning that if these conditions continue, they might not survive without government assistance. Leaders of the nation's movie theater businesses are calling on Washington for help. They issued a letter last week cautioning that nearly 70% of small and mid-sized movie theater companies will be forced to file for bankruptcy or to close permanently without any help. They're in desperate need of some government funding. They need a second round of stimulus, like a second stimulus, of course. There's a time, that these resources are going to deplete and they won't be able to reopen. So who knows what is going to happen in the world of cinema? I mean, is movie going to be the same? I know theaters around us, we have AMC is close by and they're showing movies right now such as Hocus Pocus, I guess, to bring people in. But I don't know how successful they are. And, just like I'm just pulling a movie out of the hat, but you're not going to show Gone with the Wind and get a big amount of customers. So I'm really wondering how we're going to adapt to this. Is movie theaters going to be a thing, or are we going to go back to drive-in movie theaters? Are we going to see more of them start popping up? I know over the summer, especially, it was nearly impossible to get a ticket to see a drive-in movie. They would sell out in seconds. I mean, you couldn't just wake up one day and be like, oh, let's go to the movies tonight. It wasn't happening. But I'm wondering if they're going to open more drive-in movies, and then people can say, oh, you know what? It's Friday night. Let's go see a drive-in. I don't know. It's all very, very sad. This whole coronavirus pandemic is just wreaking havoc, and I just want it to be over soon, like I'm sure most of you do. This is crazy times that we are living in. So that is that on movie theaters. I hope nothing but the best. I am very curious to see how this is all going to work itself out. We are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we are talking Jessica Alba, we're talking celebrity riders, and so much more. Stay tuned.
Want to find out what movies to go see? Then check out the GSMC Movie Podcast. It's your ticket to the latest movies, whether it's a new blockbuster event, romantic, comedy, or action flick. This show has got it all covered. They talk some what to go see now, don't bother, what's hot on Netflix, and everything in between. That's gsmcpodcast.com/movie-podcast. When it's all about the movies, it has to be this new show. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit gsmcpodcast.com for more info.
Welcome back, my friends. So this is an interesting story making headlines during a slow news day, but Jessica Alba has opened up in a recent interview with Hot Ones about a strange rule she had to follow on set as a guest star on the 90s teen drama Beverly Hills 90210. So for those of you who don't know what Hot Ones is, it's an interview style show where guests have to answer interview questions while eating hot wings, starting from mild to incredibly spicy. It's a really fun show. You get to see your favorite stars kind of cry and sweat and get uncomfortable and beg for milk. I mean, it's a really fun show. Go check it out on YouTube. So during the Hot Ones episode, which was released October 1st, host Sean Evans asked LA Finest star to compare her early guest starring appearances on The Secret World of Alex Mack and 90210. She did not hold back. She said, on the set of 90210, I couldn't even make eye contact with any of the cast members, which was really strange when you're like trying to do a scene with them. She said, Jessica also revealed that she was threatened to comply with the strict rule. It was like, you're not allowed to make eye contact with any one of the cast members or you'll be thrown off set, is what she was told. How crazy is that? So Fox's original 90210 aired from 1990 to 2000. And Jessica guest starred in 1998 during season 8, where she played pregnant teen named Leanne, a reoccurring character for just 2 episodes. The season 8 cast starred Tori Spelling, Brian Austin Green, Jenny Garth, Jason Priestley, Hilary Swank, Vincent Young, and Tiffany Amber Thiessen. Original castmates like Luke Perry, Shannon Doherty, and Gabriel Cathartis were not regulars during this season. So Jenny Garth and Tori Spelling, they addressed Alba's claims, although I use that term very, very loosely. So the 2 women were promoting their podcast when they, quote, addressed the rumors. Garth asked Spelling, and this is all going to sound crazy, these are all quotes, and I don't know, the talking is kind of crazy, but Garth asked Spelling, quote, I just need to know, did you tell her not to look me in the eye? To which Spelling replied, why is it all about you? Garth goes on to say, if anybody was, didn't want to have their eyes looked into, it would have been me, the 48-year-old actress said. But I don't remember because I have the world's worst memory. Spelling then wondered if there was some memo that was going around from the producers or the ADs, and we didn't even know. Garth was also made it clear that she has nothing but praise for Alba. Of course there has to be some weird backpedaling in a addressed statement like this. She says, I have from very vague memories I have of working with her, I only remember her being super talented. She was very young. She was really sweet. It does not surprise me that she's gone on to be so successful. In fact, Garth suggested she's a fan of the Honest Company's Leader's Baby products, saying, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I was a little horrified when I saw that clip that she said she wasn't allowed to make eye contact and she had an awful experience because her baby wipes are my favorite. What does that have to do with each other? This was such a strange, addressing of Jessica Alba's comments, which makes me believe that Jessica Alba was a bajillion% telling the truth. You literally said, oh, that makes sense. I would totally say something like that. Don't look me in the eye. What weirdos. I think that's so strange and so bizarre. And honestly, Tori Spelling does not need that type of bad press right now. The woman needs some cash. So she needs all the good press that she could possibly get. She needs people to like her, is what I'm trying to say. So certain celebrities think that they are just God's gift to the earth, and that just baffles my mind. So that being said, I love as a pastime, reading celebrity riders. If you want a giggle, please read them. They are so funny. So a rider is basically a list of demands by a celebrity for when they arrive to a venue or an event. So here are just some examples of some crazy celebrity riders. So let's start with Justin Bieber. So when he was first starting his career in 2010, his riders were pretty simple, just lots of snack food. But now his rider includes 10 luxury sedans, a massage table, and a private jet on standby for any of his travel desires. That's ridiculous. Christina Aguilera, so she really hates traffic. Now this one just boggles my mind. We all hate traffic, absolutely. So to bypass on her way to the venue, so to make sure she doesn't get caught in traffic, she requests a police escort so that under no circumstances are the vehicles allowed to encounter any delays due to traffic. Now that is so extreme and it seems very presidential of her. Little crazy. Taylor Swift, she loves her Starbucks so much that her very specific rider and has a very specific order. It must be delivered to her before 11 a.m. The order includes 1 grande iced caramel latte with 2 sweet and lows, 1 grande iced Americano and 2 sweet and lows and soy milk, and 1 slice of pumpkin loaf. I have to agree with her on the pumpkin loaf. I always get a pumpkin loaf when I go to Starbucks. It's so, so good. Then we have Selena Gomez. Post her 2014 breakup with Justin Bieber, Gomez had declared no one she worked with could go by the name of Justin. Apparently, quite a few crew members had that name and therefore were given different names during her time of mourning her relationship. Other than that, just one strange request, she just likes chicken pot pie and some pickles. We also have, speaking of Justin, a different Justin Timberlake. The sexy back singer is very health conscious, and according to his rider, he requires someone to disinfect the doorknobs of any backstage venue or hotel he is in every 2 hours. On top of that, it's necessary for him to have the elevator to himself and an entire floor of the hotel. Paranoid much? That's great. Like, what if I need to stay in the hotel and I'm traveling and you just happen to stay there and you are taking up an entire floor, Justin Timberlake? Don't be greedy. Next, we have Jennifer Lopez. She loves all white everything. Her rider says that all objects, from curtains down to candles, must be that creamy shade of white. Katy Perry, I'm not sure if her rider has changed much since having a child, but she's a little extra with her food request. Perry's snack list is complete with unsweetened dried apples and pears and slightly salted dry roasted edamame. So if you ever plan to send Katy Perry some flowers, under absolutely no circumstances should they be carnations. It's a cheap flower. A girl like what she likes. I want to know what flower she does like. That's what I want to see. We also have Mariah Carey. For a tour, Carey requested a bottle of Cristal champagne, complete with bendy straws for sipping. Oh, and she also needs one person whose sole purpose is to throw away her gum. Now imagine having that job. Then we have a Jonas brother, Joe Jonas. At the top of Joe Jonas's rider, he requests 12 puppies. I'm actually not mad at that. He revealed that it's been on his rider for a while, but this is the one thing that he doesn't always get. He said only occasionally will a city show up with 12 puppies for him. Other than that, he just wants beer and meat pies. Listen, if I could walk into a room with 12 puppies pretty much everywhere I went, I would probably own a bajillion puppies because I would want to adopt every single one of them. Oh, good. The little puppy ears. So cute. Next, we have Kanye West. So in one of his previous tours, Kanye bolded the most important things to him in his rider. So he requested Carmex chapstick, sun-kissed salted pistachios, bottles of Propel water and booze, a bottle of Hennessy, Sky or Absolute vodka, Patron Silver tequila, and 4 6-packs of Heineken. During his St. Pablo tour, Kanye's wife Kim Kardashian posted a photo of the alcohol-infused slushie machines in his dressing room, and we can only assume that means that they were put there by demand. Now, I'm not going to lie. I thought the man would have much better taste in alcohol. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with Sky or Absolute. I am saying there's definitely things wrong with Patron tequila. There's so much better tequila out there. And for vodka, like, step it up. Do like Kettle One or Grey Goose. Like, why Absolute? I was actually pretty surprised to read that. Maybe it's because like Sky, Absolute, Patron, they're all things that are widely available and guaranteed, I guess. I don't know. That I am perplexed. So Lindsay Lohan, before she was to appear on a Russian talk show, so I'm not sure when this was, but she was going to appear on a Russian talk show. Lohan sent a list of demands, one of which included meeting Russian President Vladimir Putin. She also requested to be given a 1-year visa, private jet, and $650,000 for her appearance on the show. That girl is stretching. Give me a year. How does that even work? I need to know if she got it. That's what I need to know. We also have Mary J. Blige. She apparently is not a fan of public toilets. Her rider states that she needs her own private one, complete with a new seat. Plus, any hotel she stays in must have king-size beds because twin beds are unacceptable. And I feel this one. I am not mad at it at all. I would probably have something very similar, if not identical. I'm not going to lie. And then we have One Direction. The now split boy band had some pretty fun requests for their 2015 On the Road Again tour, including a fridge stocked with beer at all times, lots of KFC, a ping pong table, and soft toilet paper. I mean, this all seems pretty doable compared to what other celebrities have asked for, that's for sure. So all of this got me thinking, what would my rider be? A private bathroom for sure. I absolutely hate using public restrooms, especially when they're not stalls, because I'm always afraid that the locks are faulty and someone is just going to walk in while I'm on the toilet. So I would rather be in a stall with someone next to me because at least it's more secure and I know no one is going to walk in on me. So that, yes, definitely a private bathroom. I don't need a new toilet seat. I just disinfect it myself, I guess. And then I would definitely be all about the KFC. I would like all dark meat, please, biscuits and coleslaw, please, and thank you. I would ask for a charging station for my laptop, my cell phone, and my iPad, just in case I forget mine. I'm very, very forgetful. So that would be nice to have that set up for me wherever I went. I would ask for water with lemon, because I don't like the taste of water, Kettle One vodka, olives, and vermouth to make myself a martini, and a few bottles of Coppola Merlot to share, not all for me, obviously, and some Coca-Cola. The small cans would be just fine. We don't need that much. I just like a sip whenever I want a Coke. I just need a little sip. There's no need for the big plastic 2-liter bottle. That's a little excessive. So that would be in my rider, but let me know what would be in yours. Check me out on Instagram or Twitter at GSMC_entertainment and let me know what your rider would be. So up next, we are talking Millie Bobby Brown and why you should never, ever give up on your dreams, as well as some more random celebrity news. So guys, do not go away. We will be right back.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
And welcome back, my friends. Now let's talk about Millie Bobby Brown. So Millie Bobby Brown says she almost quit acting after being passed over for a role in Game of Thrones. Brown told Jimmy Fallon during an interview on The Tonight Show that I think I was very disheartened by the rejection, which is something I tell everyone. She added, like, this industry is just full of rejection 24/7. You get far more no's, a lot of no's, before you get a yes. I was auditioning for commercials, for anything really, and then auditioned for Game of Thrones and got a no for that. And then that's when I was like, oh, this is really difficult because I guess I really, really wanted that role. So, but everything happens for a reason, right? So she gets rejected for Game of Thrones. Well, 2 months later, she landed the role of Eleven in the Netflix original Stranger Things. And I'm not going to lie, I think that she is much better off getting the role in Stranger Things than anything in Game of Thrones. Eleven is such an iconic character, and I really think that without her, I'm not sure that the series would be as successful as it is. I mean, she is going down in history for her role as Eleven in Stranger Things, so I'm so happy that she saw the light at the end of the tunnel. I know that right now a lot of people are job searching and it's very difficult out there and you're trying to apply for the job of your dreams. And if you don't get it, it's going to hurt and it's going to be painful. But just know that there's something better for you on the horizon, and you can't see it now, but something better is going to come along. I mean, just look at Millie Bobby Brown. God bless her. I'm very happy for her. So now that it's October, my husband and I will definitely be watching all 3 seasons of Stranger Things. Like I said, that's how much I love it and that's how iconic it is. So from the beginning to end, I cannot wait. I'm such a huge fan of the show. Stranger Things really gets me in that Halloween spooky spirit. I don't like season 2 as much as I love 1 and 3, but I am dying to see season 4. So next, McDonald's is really targeting Gen Zers, and they are doing an excellent job at it. After the major success of the Travis Scott McDonald's meal, another superstar is getting his own limited edition order at the fast food chain. J Balvin, he teamed up with McDonald's to bring his signature order to the masses for a limited time. He is only the 3rd celebrity after Travis Scott and Michael Jordan to have a meal named after him. As a longtime McDonald's fan, I am excited to join the short list of global icons who have had a meal named in their honor, Balvin, 35, said in a press release. I am looking forward to sharing my signature order with my fans, along with more surprises that are to come with this partnership. J Balvin's meal, which is available now through November 1st at participating location, consists of a Big Mac sandwich, medium-sized fries with ketchup, and an Oreo McFlurry. Fans who order through the McDonald's app instead of in stores will receive the Oreo McFlurry for free. Ooh, that's a little bit of a tongue twister. So the new collaboration comes almost immediately after Travis Scott's meal, which stopped being served on Sunday, October 4th. The rapper's meal included a quarter pounder with cheese, bacon, and lettuce, Scott's topping of choice, as well as a medium order of French fries with barbecue dipping sauce on the side and a Sprite. So again, this got me thinking, what would my McDonald's meal be? The Jessica would be very similar to Jay's. I would ask to bring back the supersize. So I would get a Big Mac, and then I would supersize the French fries with honey mustard for dipping and a Coke. The Coke would not have to be supersized. That's a little excessive. Like I said, I just like a little sip. So probably a medium Coke. Yes. And the Big Mac. Fantastic. And please bring back the supersize. I miss that. I just love the French fries so much. Side note, I've also noticed that I'm talking a lot about fast food in this episode, like KFC, McDonald's. I mean, now that's all I want for dinner. So I might have to scrap my dinner plans of chicken pot pie and get KFC or McDonald's instead. So rappers are like all over the fast food market. Even Tyga, veteran restaurateur Robert Earl launched a virtual concept called Tyga Bites, which is available in 30 markets across the country through Grubhub exclusively. The concept, which is a partnership with the Grammy-nominated hip-hop artist Tyga, is the first in what Earl described as a series of celebrity-tied restaurant concepts that will be available for delivery only. It's a growing franchising strategy positioned to capture the unused capacity of restaurant kitchens that have been hampered by the pandemic across the country, in particular like mom and pop operations that are looking for additional revenue but don't have the capital to develop new brands themselves, Earl said. Earl, chair of Earl Enterprises, has dubbed concepts like Tyga Bites as virtual additional concepts, or VACs, concepts that brick and mortar operators can execute out of their existing kitchens and offer through third-party marketplaces such as Grubhub. So the menu for Tyga is simple to execute. So it's baked chicken bites, essentially boneless wings, but no need for a fryer, with a variety of dusting spices such as lemon black pepper, black garlic, and then there's also 12 sauces, as well as regular and sweet potato sweet potato Taiga Tots, as well as chocolate chip cookies and beverages. Some more brands are coming with more celebrities, but he said he couldn't really reveal who they are working with at the moment. Now listen, I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer with this. I think it's great that Robert Earl wants to utilize restaurants, but I used to work at a restaurant that did these virtual kitchens. Let me tell you that I call BS. So he makes in this statement that he's doing this because of the pandemic, but he's been doing virtual kitchens before the pandemic even started. So that's that on that. And second, it's all done through a third party, like I said, just through Grubhub, for example. So the people working in the restaurant still have to do all of this extra side work. So let's just say you work at Restaurant X, and Restaurant X requires you to do all of this cleaning and side work and boxes and prep and literally everything that you would do to run a restaurant for Restaurant X. So now you're adding in a third party meal, this virtual kitchen. You still have to do, no one comes in from that company, like let's just say Taiga Tots, for example, to do all of the side work and prep for that food. It's all restaurant workers of Restaurant X. So you're doing all of the prep for Restaurant X plus all of the prep and everything you need to do, such as folding boxes, packaging, making sure the orders are correct for Taiga Tots, Taiga Bites, I apologize. So if you have multiple like virtual restaurants in one building for Restaurant X, you have these employees doing all of this extra work, but only getting tipped for one restaurant. So let's just say one night you're working and 70% of your carry-out orders is through this virtual kitchen and 30% is the regular dining takeout, right, through the Restaurant X. You're only essentially getting tipped for 30% of your work. So you're not getting tipped for anything coming out of any of your multiple virtual kitchens. So say you're folding boxes and putting together takeout for Restaurant X, Taiga, and let's just say one or two other virtual kitchens. You're only getting tipped for anything that comes out of Restaurant X. Think about it. If you order through Grubhub and you tip through Grubhub, that tip is going to your driver, not the people that work in the restaurant. So you catch my drift. So just so all of you celebrities know who are partnering up with this virtual kitchen, there's a lot that needs to be flushed out. Earl is getting paid. Earl is making money. You're making money, but the workers are making no extra money for all of the additional work that they are doing. So that's my only gripe with this whole third-party virtual kitchen thing. Like, I understand how it works from a business perspective, but as an employee and a worker in the restaurant, a lot of extra work with no incentive, and you don't get paid for it. So I don't like that. So that's all that I have for you guys today in terms of celebrity news. Dominating the media is the coronavirus, making waves in the White House. So let's just see what the rest of the week brings up. But no worries, there's a little more episode left. So when we come back, I'm sharing with you some of my favorite movies that get me excited for spooky season. It is October after all. So guys, we will be right back.
Golden State Media Concepts bring you Book Review Podcast, a haven for bookworms of all ages and the widest genres, from mystery to memoirs, romance to comedy, fantasy to sci-fi. If you love to read, this is the podcast for you. It's the Golden State Media Concepts Book Review Podcast.
And welcome back, my friends. I know I was a little bit of a Debbie Downer with the whole virtual kitchen thing, but I'm absolutely triggered by all of that. Like I said, I have worked it. I hated it. It was not fun. But let's move on to scary movies. And these are movies that get me into that Halloween spooky season. Now, I'm going to be perfectly frank with you. I don't like scary movies. Not because I get scared, but because I was so desensitized as a child. The only two movies that scared me growing up was E.T. and Pet Sematary. Two very different movies, but both gave me nightmares. So other than that, I've pretty much seen it all. I would watch Tales from the Crypt while my dad would fall asleep. And then every Friday, he would rent a movie for me and my brother to watch. So like I said, Pet Sematary, it scared me to death as a child. Actually, it took me forever to get my driver's license because I was so afraid of highway driving and Mack trucks. When the kid gets hit by the Mack truck in that movie, that fear has followed me my entire life. I've also seen The Shining as a young child. It was good, but it didn't scare me. Was it a little spooky? Yeah, but it was a thriller. Maybe I just didn't get it that much as a kid, but just really didn't do much for me. I also watched Child's Play as a kid. I was actually super bored with it, and I remember telling my dad that when it ended, it was just a Disney movie with more swearing. I thought it was so lame, and to this day, it's one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Even The Exorcist I watched. I was 9 years old. My mom and dad had a fight before she left for work. She was a waitress at the time. And she yelled at, she's like telling my dad, like, oh, you're not showing our kids this movie. They're too young, blah, 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 blah. And my dad kind of just yesed her. So she goes, leaves for work Friday night. And probably like 2 minutes later, as soon as my mom like cleared the driveway, my dad's like, all right, heading to the video store and I'm going to rent you a movie. And he came back and he brought back The Exorcist and we watched it. Was I a little startled by it? Like, sure. I mean, she turned her head. She threw up split pea soup. And what she did with the crucifix was kind of disturbing. But was I scared? No. Did it give me nightmares? Not at all. I just went on with my 9-year-old life. So that being said, I've never really watched many more of those typical Halloween scary movies, probably because my dad knew that I wouldn't like it or it just wouldn't do anything for me. So this list, these are not so much of the classics that people know and love, the stereotypical Halloween classics. These are what I like to watch to get into the Halloween spooky spirit. They're usually kind of reminiscent to when I was a child. So first, there's Scream. As the kids say on TikTok, it was a cultural reset. This is a 1996 American slasher film directed by Wes Craven and written by Kevin Williamson. The film stars David Arquette, Neve Campbell, Courtney Cox, Matthew Lillard, Rose McGowan, Skeet Ulrich, and Drew Barrymore. Released on December 20th, it follows the character of Sidney Prescott, played by Campbell, a high school student in the fictional town of Woodsboro, California, who becomes the target of a mysterious killer in a Halloween costume known as Ghostface. The film combines black comedy and whodunit mystery with the violence of the slasher genre to satirize the cliches of the horror movie genre popularized in films such as Halloween, Friday the 13th, and Craven's own The Nightmare on Elm Street. Scream was considered unique at the time of its release for featuring characters who were aware of real-world horror films and openly discussed the cliches that the film attempted to subvert. When this movie came out, it was a true shift in culture where now the Ghostface is known as the Scream Halloween costume. Was it scary? No. But does it hit all the right notes to get you into that Halloween spooky spirit? Of course it does. It's a very fun movie. It's so, so good. And I love watching it. It kind of brings me back. Everyone who has anyone watched that movie. It was the talk of the town. I mean, it was the movie to see. So I loved it. It has its sequels, but nothing beats the original. Now, I'm gonna get made fun of for this one for sure, but I love this movie so much around Halloween, and I will always, always watch it, and it's Casper. Yes, Casper the Friendly Ghost, released in 1995, directed by Brad Silberling, and starring Christina Ricci, Bill Pullman and Kathy Moriarty, and heartthrob of the time, Devon Sawa. The film makes extensive use of computer-generated imagery to create the ghost, and it is the first feature film to have a fully CGI character in the lead role. It goes for a much darker interpretation of the friendly ghost in comparison to the comics, cartoons, and films of previous years, especially in themes of death, most notably providing the character with a tragic backstory that addressed his own death. The film is quirky, it's fun, it's set at Halloween, it's perfect to remind you of your younger years, and it's like this odd, feel-good Halloween movie. Like I said, scary? Not at all. Is it fun to watch? Absolutely. Does it get you into that fun Halloween spirit? I mean, if you don't watch this with some Milky Ways, Three Musketeers, your favorite Halloween candy of choice, like, is it really Halloween? I don't think so. The next one is The Sixth Sense. This movie, I mean, the lines that came out of this movie, like, I see dead people, so iconic. This psychological thriller follows a young boy who can communicate with the dead and the psychologist who tries to help him. I am realizing after after weeks of doing these lists, I really do love movies of the 90s. I just don't think they make movies like they used to. So this movie came out in 1999 and it holds up to this day, especially if you have not seen it before. Please go watch. This supernatural psychological thriller was written and directed by M. Night Shyamalan and might very well be his best work. It stars a young Haley Joel Osment and Bruce Willis and Toni Collette, who is absolutely exceptional in her role in this film. This movie is so well done. It is set in Philadelphia, and it's a movie that really sticks with you. Like I said, it absolutely holds up. Even if you know the ending, watching it a second time, a third time, like, it doesn't lose its value and how good it is. If anything, you notice more details and more clues. It's just an all-around great, great film. I'm not going to talk about it much further because if you have not seen it, just go watch it. Don't look it up online. Just right now, stop what you're doing and watch The Sixth Sense. Next, Paranormal Activity. So a movie not released in the 90s, but in fact 2007. This supernatural horror film produced, written, directed, photographed, and edited by Oren Pili. It centers around a young couple who are haunted by a supernatural presence in their home. They then set up a camera to document what is haunting them. The film utilizes like found footage conventions that were mirrored later in other films in the series. Does this movie keep me up all night, second guessing what I'm hearing and wondering if my eyes are playing tricks on me? No. Is it fun and does it get me into that Halloween spirit? Absolutely. I love a good haunted story. I even love watching on TV, or now I just kind of stream it. It's The Haunted, and the other one I think is called, it's The Haunted and The Haunted, and I think just Haunted are the two. And I just love a story, movie, whatever I'm trying to say, around a haunted house. It's really entertaining. It doesn't really scare me, but it does give me those spooky vibes that I absolutely love and adore around Halloween. And finally, you have to know it made the list because it's not a list without it. And that's Hocus Pocus. Now, guys, I was born in the mid-'80s. So when this came out in 1993, I was old enough to understand that this was probably the greatest Halloween movie I had ever seen in my entire life. And it continues to be to this day. It wasn't like it wasn't really Halloween unless you watched it on Disney or ABC played it on TV. Like you would, oh my God, you would find out, oh, Hocus Pocus is coming on at 8:00 at night, and you would hurry up and rush and get ready for bed, and you put on your pajamas, take a shower beforehand, and you would sit down, sit on the floor and enjoy Hocus Pocus. I love this movie every single year. It's directed by Kenny Ortega and written by Neil Cuthbert and Mark Garris. The film stars Bette Midler, Kathy Najimy, and Sarah Jessica Parker, with Ormy Katz, Tora Birch, and Vanessa Swan as supporting roles. The film follows the villainous comedic trio of witches who are inadvertently resurrected by a teenage virgin boy in Salem, Massachusetts on Halloween night. It is not Halloween without Danny, Max, Allison. Like, oh my God, her amazing giant house with her amazing like Victorian costume. And then the Sanderson sisters, but most importantly, Binks. And guys, I was doing a little research on this movie, and I didn't know this until today. I was today years old when I learned that Leonardo DiCaprio was originally offered the role of Max, but declined it in order to pursue What's Eating Gilbert Grape. Imagine. I'm sure What's Eating Gilbert Grape is obviously the more artistic film to follow. But my goodness, imagine Leo being in Titanic and Hocus Pocus. I mean, every girl my age would, how could you love him even more? It could have happened. We just weren't meant to have him as Max. Guys, I cannot wait to watch this movie. My husband, he's a few years older than me. He doesn't really get the whole Hocus Pocus thing, but I do, and I'm sure a lot of you out there do. So guys, enjoy Hocus Pocus this season, this spooky, spooky season. Enjoy all the movies that you know and love. I hope you're scared all month long for reasons other than what's going on in the actual world. So that's our show today, you guys. I had a great time. I will see you next week. So until next time, I'm Jessica, and thank you for listening to the GSMC Entertainment Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I would like to ask you to please remember to subscribe to the show and write a beautiful, glowing review. That really helps us out. Also, if you can please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, I would really appreciate it. Guys, thank you so, so much. Have a wonderful morning, noon, and night whenever you're listening to this. I will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Entertainment Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. From movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.